Hi guys, I'm Saim. I'm the product manager here at Zell Education. So guys, today we're going to learn about a very interesting topic which a lot of candidates ask me, especially when they're studying their graduation or just completed their 12th. So they've decided that they want to pursue ACCA, but they're still confused whether we should go ahead with self-study or whether we should join some classes. Correct? That's a very big question which they ask. Today we're going to learn the pros and cons of both. First of all, joining a class and probably self-study. And we'll learn the pros and cons, and then depending on which situation you lie in, you can take a much better decision based on that. So I'll start with classes first. When it comes to classes, obviously people talk about guidance, mock exams, student experience. But guys, the most important part about joining a class is, let's take an example of getting into a Harvard, correct? You have to study really, very hard in Harvard. I know that the Harvard curriculum is great, but it's not like it's a curriculum which people die for. Correct? When you go to Harvard, you're the batch of 100 or 200 people if you're doing MBA, and that these guys are going to reach somewhere in their life, probably 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line. Correct? They might have their own startups, they might be AVPs at various companies. So networking is key. Correct? Networking is key in any sort of job profile, whether it's commerce or it's not commerce. You have to network with people. So when you join a class, you get to interact with around 50-60 people per subject. Correct? So probably the people keep changing as well. And probably 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, you don't know where these people will be, right? Someone might be a consultant at KPMG, someone might be working in JP Morgan, someone might have started their own startup. And the same thing goes on in an ACCA class, correct? So that's the most important thing, which is networking. You get to know people. If someone is just cleared his ACCA, he got a job, you're almost on the 12th paper, you just completed the 13th paper, you know who to reach out to first, correct, to make sure that you get the job. So networking is key in any profile, not only ACCA, whether it's science, arts, or commerce. Networking is key. The biggest pro of joining a class, other pros of joining a class are, it's a lot of students, they sometimes get 47, they get 48, they get 49, correct, and probably if they got a little bit more guidance, they would get those additional 4 marks, additional 5 marks. What professors generally do is, so here at Zell, we have only ACCAs teaching ACCA. There's a reason behind that, is that because the ACCAs themselves have gone through this journey. They know how to give the paper, how many hours before you have to go to the examination hall, how the process is going to be. So the students already stress-free, correct, before going to the paper. And more importantly, they keep tests, they keep mock exams, right? They correct the mock exams in the way ACCA have been correcting the mock exams. So the students know how the examiner is going to check his paper. So obviously they get more confidence in giving those papers. Yeah, so these are a few pros about classes. Obviously, there are a few cons, especially for people who are working. Sometimes it gets difficult for them to match their timings with classes which are there. So yeah, obviously a few cons over there. Now let's talk about pros about self-study. One of the biggest pros of self-study is you can probably decide which time you want to study at, correct? For instance, I'm already working in KPMG. I have long hours, high pressure. So I know that I'm free at 11 o'clock in the night. Correct, but obviously you probably won't get a class at 11 o'clock in the night. So obviously it depends on profile to profile. There are some profiles where the students who are already in college, but at the same time their weekends are not free, their weekdays are not free, they have various fests to attend. So that's why they probably decide that, we'll study on our own, and we'll probably allocate our time based on our calendar and not someone else's calendar. So that's one of the biggest pros of self-studying. Cons, as I mentioned, there are times where you need guidance. A professor can literally tell you that, don't study this chapter, it doesn't come that much in the exam. Study Y chapter because that keeps coming. So you can focus more on Y chapter than X chapter. So you need that little bit of guidance over there. That's a con of probably doing self-study. So yeah guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching.